The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. We saw the glory with our own eyes, the one-of-a-kind glory, like Father, like Son, generous inside and out, true from start to finish. That's how Eugene Peterson translates John chapter 1, verse 14, which we might recognize from its more common rendering. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Peterson's wording makes the dwelling more tangible, as if God is taking up residence down the block from us, or better yet, in our very own home. I thought of that verse from John when I reflected on Psalm 132, not because the psalm contains a prophecy about the coming Messiah, but because it is about God taking up residence in a place. One theologian says it is a psalm in which God has an address, and that address is in Zion, in Jerusalem. Zion is God's dwelling place, God's holy habitation. It's the reason why we pilgrims are walking there, singing these songs along the way. We are going to God's home. Listen in on the psalm, which is the longest of the songs of ascent. O Lord, remember in David's favor all the hardships he endured, how he swore to the Lord and vowed to the mighty one of Jacob. I will not enter my house or get into my bed. I will not give sleep to my eyes or slumber to my eyelids until I find a place for the Lord, a dwelling place for the mighty one of Jacob. We heard of it in Ephrathah. We found it in the field of Jaar. Let us go to his dwelling place. Let us worship at his footstool. Rise up, O Lord, and go to your resting place, you and the ark of your might. Let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and let your faithful shout for joy. For your servant David's sake, do not turn away the face of your anointed one. The Lord swore to David a sure oath from which he will not turn back. One of the sons of your body I will set on your throne. If your sons keep my covenant and my decrees that I shall teach them, their sons also forevermore shall sit on your throne. For the Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his habitation. This is my resting place forever. Here I will reside, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless its provisions. I will satisfy its poor with bread. Its priests I will clothe with salvation, and its faithful will shout for joy. There I will cause a horn to sprout up for David. I have prepared a lamp for my anointed one. His enemies I will clothe with disgrace, but on him his crown will gleam. The psalm begins with a recollection of King David's desire to find and build a house for God. It will be his son Solomon who ends up constructing the temple, but David's heart remains restless until God has a place of rest. In this holy habitation, the priests and the faithful will shout for joy, and the kings who sit on the throne of David will rule with justice. The political realm and the spiritual realm will both point to the reality of God and God's presence among them. This is why the pilgrims are restless until they find their resting place. When they reach God's address in Zion, it will be a place where heaven and earth meet, where God's kingdom intersects with a human kingdom, where the political arena and the spiritual arena both attest and point to the one who makes all things possible. The pilgrims want to see this place, want to touch this place, hear the sounds of this place, to believe that such a place can and does exist. God's kingdom has not yet come in its fullness. It is what we await in this season of Advent. But glimpses of Zion, sightings of God's residence, give us hope that God's world has drawn near, and that God's holy habitation will one day give rest and joy to all the earth. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.